Hi everybody, it's me again, Shlomo. Now you see me more often. I hope you like it. I definitely like it because when I used to come and do a video every few months, I would forget how to switch on the camera even. So this is much nicer and I'll try to do it even more often. But it's not easy because I have to come up with the with the content. And I have to keep you interested, and I have to keep myself interested. Anyway, last video we did, I think it was two or 3 weeks ago, was about God in the second chapter of the book, From Nothingness to Infinity. So today we're going to come down to earth, and we'll talk about things that are more practical. Most of them you can actually implement and have a more interesting and healthier life. All right, so today we'll talk about a number of things. The first one will be the purpose, or call it the meaning of life. It's most likely the purpose sounds better, fits better here. Then we'll talk about what does it mean to be free. And once we define what does it mean to be free, we'll talk about how to be free, how to implement it. Then I want to talk about ancient knowledge. Does it exist and what is it? And as I promised, we'll touch on face reading. I'll try to give you some information. And time permitting, and when I say time permitting is because I don't rehearse these videos, so I have no idea how long it's gonna run, but I like to keep it below 40 minutes. So time permitting, we'll talk about the relationship between illness and emotions or emotional experiences that we carry, or feelings that we carry towards people, towards events, and how they connect to certain health problems that we experience in our lives. And I'll show you how to disconnect them and make those problems just disappear. All right, but first, I know you like stories, so I'll tell you a very interesting story. As usual, it's all true, and this one actually I'm going to make you think about it and see if you can come up with the answers. So this is what happened. That was about 8 years ago. And we had a reunion of one of our units in the army, and it was after 30 years, so nobody met anybody over in these 30 years. And while drinking and eating, one of the officers from that unit, he spoke to another person. There used to be a driver there, and he turns out he's quite a powerful psychic. I wasn't aware of it. And he said to him, next time we have this reunion, which probably will be another 30 years, you're probably going to be dead. Well, the psychic didn't take it very nicely. I guess psychics have their own ways of, they know the power of words. So he turned around and he said, you know what? In 30 days, I'm going to lay flowers on your grave. And in 30 days, that person died. So the question I'm asking is, did he predict it or did he cause it? And I don't know the answer. So there is my first story of the day. So let's go into the first topic, the meaning of life. And I'm going to, in this video, I'm going to dispel most of what you acquired since childhood about life, its meanings, its purpose, and so on. I can tell you already that it's not about being good or doing good. Those are all good things for us, because when we do good, we feel good. This is how we are built. But being good or righteous is not the purpose of life. I look at it from the perspective of the Creator, not from a human perspective, okay? So, let's say that I have proof, which proves 100% that we live in a, well, we call it simulation, but I don't mean like a computer simulation. What I mean is we live in a like I said in my other videos, in a dream of God, and nothing here is real if we were to step out of it. And let's say that I have proof, which I actually do. Then what? Well, the answer is nothing. I looked at some questions and answers on Quora, which is a site where you can post questions and people will answer. And that question comes up quite often in many different ways. And I would say 99% of the answers, the people that answer say, well, nothing will change. I still need to eat and drink and live. So really, knowing that this is a simulation or something like that would not change that much. I changed my point of view, my whole approach to this thing over the last few weeks, and I'm going to share it with you now. So let's use the metaphor of an aquarium. Say that we live in an aquarium, which is kind of similar to a simulation, and we are not, and all of a sudden we are aware that we live in the aquarium. And when I say I changed my thinking about it, here is what I wrote on my Twitter introduction 7-8 years ago. I wrote like this: I am the one fish who escaped the aquarium, this reality, and now I am coming back for all of you. Well, not any longer. Why? Because as I developed my thinking and my knowledge and my theories, I realized that there is nothing out of the aquarium. Definitely there is no water. So you cannot escape the aquarium, because out of it, it's nothingness. And I'll give you another metaphor to understand what I'm saying. Let's say you have a ascending line at 45 degrees, okay, like that. At the bottom, where it starts, there is no intelligence, nothing, like a stone. As you go up, there is more and more intelligence. At the very top of it is the ultimate intelligence. We call it God. Where we are is in between those 2 points. We can never touch or reach those points. Okay? So the aquarium is actually between those 2 points. And naturally we ascend on that line all the time. But like I said, we cannot reach to the top, because if you want to take it in a religious way, God says in the Bible that if a person sees my face, he cannot be alive. And this is really what it means. If you get up there, that's it. You get into nothingness. You will not be in this life. So, like I said, life is actually about what is in the aquarium. And this is where we have to focus now, okay? Now, as opposed to the fish in the aquarium, we are intelligent. And the aquarium that I'm talking about has actually infinite number of tools and materials to create anything. It's just up to our imagination. Okay, the purpose of life. So I'll use another metaphor here, and I'll make it very simple to start with. Just like I simplified the reality transurfing books, I try to simplify everything. Otherwise, it becomes indigestible. So let's say, use a metaphor here. Now, when we are born and we start to realize where we are and what happens, we actually have a jungle in front of us which we have to cross. And crossing that jungle is our life. Okay, everybody has to cross that jungle. What happens in that jungle is what happens in life. On the other side is the cemetery. All right? And everybody has to cross that jungle. The purpose of life is to cross that jungle with as little as possible stepping on somebody else's footsteps. Meaning to cross the jungle in such a way that you create an original path as much as possible. The more original, the more you fulfill the purpose of life. Okay? I'll repeat that. We all must go through it, right? So the purpose of life is to pick a path with the least footsteps on it. You know, there is a poster by Rumi that says, if there is no way, then create one, and it shows a person unrolling a road. So creating a whole new path in the jungle will be the ultimate way of living the purpose of life. You know, going back to the Bible, because I like to quote things from there, I think it's a very, there's lots of wisdom there. Now, God says to Abraham in Genesis, leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be blessed. Or you will be a blessing. So what does that mean? That means exactly that. It means just go and explore your own path. Don't stay with your parents and do what they do and continue. No, go and do something new. This is the purpose of life. Now, you may not like it, but the system, our reality here, is rigged against the steady and peaceful people. And if you don't believe me, look at history. Look what happened to all the peace-seeking natives, whether it's in Africa or America. What happened to them by the hands of the change-seeking colonialists. You can say blood-seeking, but yes, the people who decided to create change, they were bad people, there's no question. They went and they basically destroyed the people who wanted to live with nature and have a steady life, because the system is rigged against them, and it always happens. If you look through history, it's always the same situation. The ones that decide to do something with the change, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, they win. You see, like in space, when you fly in space, it doesn't matter what speed you are moving at, you cannot tell that you are moving. The only time you can tell is when you accelerate or decelerate. Life is exactly the same way. If you move at a constant speed, you will never know that you are alive. And you know, there is a saying that when somebody dies, it's not proof. It does not prove that they ever lived. Let's put it into some practical terms here. Let's look at two retirees, okay? And they both retire, let's say it's at the age of 65. And one wants to rest. Well, he worked hard for probably 45 or 50 years of his life, and he wants to rest, right? The other one decides to buy a sailboat or a yacht, and he wants to sail around the world. So which one of them you think will be depressed, ill, dependent on drugs, bitter, tired of life, and so on? I'm sure you guessed. So this is the thing, right? Once you decide on a steady, predictable life, you basically go against the system. It does not work. So this is the purpose of life. The God, the creator, call it whatever you like, comes from a reality where everything is infinite, right? Nothingness. Everything is infinite. Which means that everything he creates is also infinite, right? Which means, again, that this universe, this reality, and the humans that are in it and everything, is infinite, actually. It's forever, regardless of what science tells you or whoever. It's infinite. But what's in it is all finite. Right? Everything inside our reality is finite. Can you think why it is that way? If you can figure that one out, the answer to this question actually reveals one of the biggest secrets of the creation, of the move from nothingness to somethingness. You can figure out why everything is finite here. It's related to that secret that I always talk about. Okay, so let's move to the next topic, and we will still we'll go back to that purpose of life thing. So we want to talk about being free. What does it mean to be free? I don't mean to be out of prison. What I mean by being free is to be able to think about whatever you like, whatever you decide, without any physical, emotional, or virtual sense of obligation that interrupts you. Okay? I'll repeat that. Being free means to be able to think about whatever you like, okay, without any physical, emotional, or virtual sense of obligation that interrupts you. Okay? Another way to put it is you're not free if something else hijacks your attention. So for example, if you are driving and somebody cuts you off, you are not free anymore, unless you can forget it. Because as long as it runs in your mind, you are not free. Okay? Whatever you're going to think about, this will interrupt you. So, I guess to be free, you have to be present, right? But you have to decide in advance, every day in the morning or maybe twice a day, what are the topics you want to think about when you are present. Because even when you are present, this is not meditation, right? You have to think about something. So make sure in advance that you're going to think about the things that you want to think about. And that will help you to be free. The more you think what you want to think about, the more freedom you will get in your life. Okay. Now we go to the next topic. And I wanted to talk about ancient knowledge. I hear and I read a lot about it. And it's always some kind of mysterious knowledge that supposedly disappeared and we don't know it anymore. And I want to give you my side, how I feel about it. So, first of all, in my opinion, there is no lost ancient knowledge. we know it all. Okay? Whatever knowledge there was, it was passed and it arrived here. The difference is that today, any knowledge will require scientific proof. In the old days, they didn't need scientific proof, so they came up with lots of ideas, mainly spiritual. And when we read about it, it sounds like some mysterious ancient knowledge, but there is no such thing, because I don't think that there is anything that anybody in the past knew that you cannot find today on Google, okay? And things like how did they build the pyramids, how did they bring the stones? Well, if you have unlimited number of people with unlimited number of hours, and you can do with these people whatever you like because they are slaves, then everything is possible. So I don't think there is any knowledge there either. Question really is, what is real knowledge, right? Real knowledge is something you develop, not merely copy into your memory from a book or from Google or from something. This is real knowledge. Because I am sure that you will not find any famous personality from the past who knew everything that was known already, but nothing new, right? Anybody that you know from the past that became famous is because they came up with something original. Problem is, today we don't think anymore. We just need to memorize. And the more we memorize, the more we come across as knowledgeable. But like I said, this is not knowledge. This is just storage and the ability to retrieve it. Challenge yourself. Try to come up with something original, and the universe will actually reward you for it. I had once a dispute with a known rabbi about the meaning of some passages in the Torah. And he kept quoting from many Jewish holy books. And I said to him, is there anything you can tell me that comes from you? And that was basically the end of the discussion. Here's something really, it's another story. Very simple, but very powerful. I learned actually from watching a video about this Airbus 380, which is the largest passenger jet, I think, today, that had an almost disaster, and how they dealt with it. And I think there is some very interesting lessons to learn here. So what happened there, one of the engines exploded. And when it exploded, the debris, I guess, hit the bottom of the plane and damaged many, many systems. And since all the airplanes today, they are computerized, so they started to get on the display hundreds of messages about problems that explosion caused. And the captain was a very smart man. He said, he said to his crew, ignore, don't look at what it's not working. Leave it, because there's like a few hundred of them. We're not finished with it. Let's see what does work that can actually help us land that airplane. And that's what they did. They said, okay, is the landing gear working? Is this working? Is this working? And eventually they landed the plane, and I don't think anybody got hurt. So the takeaway here is, in life we face many situations where all of a sudden, like, problem here and a problem there, and this doesn't work, and so on and so on. And this is what we focus on. But instead of doing that, focus on what does work, which is probably way, way more, and that applies to what you want to do. Ignore the things that don't work. I thought that was very powerful takeaway here. I was very impressed with that one. Okay, as I promised, let's get a little bit into face reading. So when I decided, I did face reading for many years. I never charged for it. I did it just in the Healing Olive. Everybody that ordered the Healing Olive at the time, I did their face reading. And then I had a website called Switch Your Reality where I did face reading. I think did a few hundred people there. But when I decided to turn it into something that I do for a fee, I went to look on the internet to see if there is anybody else that does it and how they do it. So here's my experience. The first one I found on, I think it was a site called Fiverr, where you can buy all kind of services. And he wanted, I don't remember how much, X amount of money. And he promised that he will get back to me within 48 hours. Okay. So I sent him my picture. I paid the fee and was waiting. Well, next day, I get a message from Fiverr telling me that the person cannot read my face and is refunding my money. Why? Don't ask me. I have no idea. The second one actually did my face reading. I think it was a girl from India. And I'm going to read it to you. See what you think. Hello, dear friend. According to shaman Indian energy face reading, your face gives the following information about you. You are a beautiful person inside out. You are wise and experienced. You can sense other people's energy and you can see deep inside them. You can understand when someone lies to you. You can read people's intentions and you are very sharp in your observations. Your friends love you because you are a good listener, a trustworthy friend, and a person to lean on whenever they have problems. You are humorous and spiritual. You love conversations that brighten your mind. You are sociable, but you are an introvert. You recharge your energy by being alone. You love writing, listening to music, nature. You have an artistic personality and you appreciate beauty. One positive characteristic about you is that you are confident and you believe in yourself and your abilities. One negative characteristic is that sometimes you get too confident. People may perceive you as cunning instead of clever. You prefer to be practical rather than sensitive and emotional. You fight for your beliefs and for the people that you love. You have a beautiful soul and people love being around you because you make them feel nice. You can talk with any person in the room and make an instant connection. You have the gift of persuasion. You tend to overanalyze, which is something that makes you feel very tired. Meditation will help you clear your thoughts. Your energy is very positive. You will enjoy a full life of abundance, luck, success, and happiness. May the light be with you. So this is what I received from the second face reader. All right. So what is face reading? As you can see from this analysis that I received, this is not from looking on my face. My nose, my ears don't tell this kind of a story, right? So what she did, and this is what I do, is you look through the eyes, through the face, and you see the soul. And this is really not seeing. This is sensing. This is a feeling. And that I cannot teach you. This is something that, I look at somebody and within a second, I get all that information. It's in there. But I can teach you something else. Over the years, while I was doing it, I noticed some trends, right? And keep in mind that this is not, you cannot generalize. There's always exceptions, right? So, but in general, I'll tell you some of the trends that I've noticed. And the most important thing is that most people, not all, but most people, They want to be somebody. They want to be they want to project somebody or some kind of a character, right? And they will do not just expressions, but they actually will do some physical things to their face. Like, for example, some people grow a beard when they are academic and they have those thick glasses, and right? So they want to project, I guess, personality that's important, that's wise, that's educated. And the gap, the difference between what they project or what they want to project and what they really are is a source of problems. It causes health problems, it causes social problems. They don't realize it because they kind of convince themselves that they are what they project, but they are not. And I can see that. The greater the discrepancy between the two, what they project and what they really are, the lower the life quality of that person. Okay? Now, some people, like I said, are, in the old days in the word processors, when you typed and you saw what is going to print, it used to be called YCWIG. What you see is what you get. So some people are what you see, what you get, and those are actually the real people. They don't have that discrepancy. It also has to do with the freedom that I talked before, because if you have this discrepancy, you cannot be free, because you always have to work on that image that you are projecting. It doesn't come naturally. So here are some trends. For example, people with big ears, usually very wise, very smart. Nothing to do with spirituality or sensitivity, but very smart. Okay? Looks like the bigger the ears, the smarter. Again, this is all generalizations. There is also very smart people with small ears, but generally, that's the trend. Forehead wrinkles or furrows, whatever it's called. So people that have wrinkles going that way, you can see I have them probably. The more wrinkles they have that way, the wiser they are. That's wisdom. Now, wrinkles that go that way, like if you probably can see, I have some going up here. This is spirituality. This is connection with the sixth sense. The deeper and the longer, the more spiritual the person is. Okay? The mouth, people that have it going down like this, usually bad people. Again, don't take it personally. There's always exceptions, but generally, when it goes down, it's a bad person. When it goes up, it's a happy person. If it's straight, well, in between. So, I said earlier that if time permits, I'll talk about how illnesses are related to certain emotions and buried feelings, and I want to get into that. What happens is, and this is just from observation, is that almost every illness that we carry, especially chronic illnesses, it's associated with some experience earlier in life. And when I say experience, it doesn't have to be like being abused or anything like that. It's enough that you had a bad confrontation with somebody, that maybe a family member, and they really took advantage of you, and you never got over it. You always thought, oh, like, why would he do that? Why did she do it? I just wanted to give them, and they just took. They never gave anything back. And as long as it's there, that energy keeps a certain illness in you. If you can get rid of it, that particular illness will disappear. It will just go away. And one way to deal with it, and you can repeat it many, many times because it's not easy to remember everything in one go. But if you go back to an age, maybe a teenager, maybe before that, where you didn't have any of that. Like everything was simple, right? You went to school, you had friends, you played. Go back to that age. You also had no illnesses at that point, right? They tell you that they come with age, but they don't. Okay? Believe me, I'm talking from experience. Go there and then try to move forward until you hit the first problem, the first encounter, the first experience where you started to be resentful about somebody. And then do whatever it takes to erase it. Either you forgive that person, or you say it wasn't important, or you take the blame on yourself. It doesn't matter. If you can take the blame on yourself, it won't make you sick. But you need to resolve it. You need to get it out of your head. Okay? Like I had an experience in the 90s, so 20, 25 years ago. Somebody stole from me over $30 million. Okay? I had a partner in a public company. I was going through a divorce. The company, he took it over. He convinced the shareholders against me. And there was $30-some million in it. That was the money that we got paid for this cellular company, Fido, whatever. And, I had to basically convince myself that at the end of the day, that was his character. That's what he does for a living. And I was the idiot. And I was in a situation where I allowed that because I was going through a divorce and I accepted it. It just got out of my head. Because if I carried that, I would have something in my body to go with it. So try to go and clean these things. Like I said, find a way so it's not there anymore. It's not bothering you anymore. So you don't go back to it because there's no way out of it. Right? It's like a closed circle. So the only way is to go back in your body and cause you some kind of illness. All right. So this will be it for today. And the next one, I'll go back to the book. I'll do chapter 3. It will be very interesting. I have some really, I think, very interesting observations, conclusions about God, nothingness, and where it's all going. And I think that you will really enjoy it. So enjoy the spring. And remember what I said in one of my previous videos about the COVID, how it's going to go away because it has a limited number of cycles. So hopefully by the summer or by the end of the summer it will be gone. And we'll be able to resume our normal life. In the meantime, we'll continue to do more videos. Thank you, and all the best to all of you.